So since about the start of me taking HRT for my gender transition, I have been documenting some aspects of my body, some measurements and other things, and I want to compile that into data, but having only one example is not, it's not very usable. So I want to start other people collecting their data. Like, I think it's a good idea for you to measure, like, just to keep track of how you change if you're doing a transition. And if you want to disclose that information, that's fine. If you don't, it's good to keep it for yourself, because like whenever I look at the list of all the numbers, it's like, oh wow, I've actually changed quite a bit. Well, first thing would have to be knowing when you were born. Not the day, because it's like, you shouldn't, I mean, I have a hard time giving out my exact birthday, but I don't mind saying like spring of 1993. That's fine. And then, oh, what's the other thing? I guess actually the most important thing of when you started HRT. So if you're going to write down information and track your transition, write down when you started HRT, when you were born, and then any time your dosage changes. Also, I guess write down your dosage. You know what I mean? That's a good thing to write down. Well, the actual things that change though, what I keep track of, I keep track of my body weight. So usually every 2 weeks to every month I'll measure myself. And so far I haven't really gained that much weight. I've gained 2 pounds. I've gone from like 119 to 121 pounds. I've been trying to gain weight because, you know, fat goes places, but I can't seem to hold on to fat. It's because I forget to eat and I'm just doing too much stuff, burning too much energy. Well, yeah. So then the next thing would be chest circumference. So I have a sewing tape measure. This one fell apart, so it doesn't have the retractable bit that would like pull it back. But whatever. I usually measure in millimeters, but do it however you want. So usually I start off with chest circumference. I mean, I don't have like a bra or shirt on whenever I do it, but I just like go like that, and I just measure like that. Actually, it's not that different. It's 880 millimeters. Okay, maybe shirt doesn't add that much to it. I don't know. I think taking more measurements, like taking it once a week, would be wonderful. But to be honest, the minimum you need is just 2 data points. You know what I mean? Because all you want to know is a change. If that's just from one line to the next, that's fine. But if you have a bunch of dots in between that might maybe show ups and downs, that's really cool. I'd say the second thing that I measure is my butt. Kind of like the hip butt area. I call it my lower hips. So basically, like that. Right around that level. Then the next one, let's see, it's usually like right here. I'll measure that part. Now, one thing I wish I had measured is, oh, it's called your thighs, because I feel like there's been like more fat in this area now, which I'm fine with. I am perfectly fine with that. It's like, it feels kind of cool, but I wish I had taken more measurements. Actually, I wish I had started from before my transition, because I didn't think to measure my chest width, circumference until I was like 8 months in. But I hadn't really, I'd had a pretty low dose up to that point, so not too many changes had happened. Well, the next thing I measure is emotion. I call them emotional instances. Basically, any time that I tear up or cry or something like that, like I cry when I'm watching a movie. Like the other day, I was watching, what's the film? Die Weiße Hölle von Pitzpulu. It's the White Hell of Pitzpulu. It's a 1929 mountain film. It's pretty good. And when someone died in the film, I was like, oh, that's sad. And I kind of teared up a little bit. So I wrote that down on the list. I've noticed that over time, there has been like an increase and then a bit of a decrease. Like for instance, about 10 months in, I was having like 5 or 6 times through a month that'll kind of cheer up or cry, or sometimes even just have such a stressful day at my job that I just come home, fall in bed, and cry. And that didn't happen much before. Hasn't really happened much since. So I think that information, keeping track of emotional instances of times when you cry or tear up or something like that, that is a good point. That is a good way to tell if maybe you're going through a second puberty. You know what I mean? Because that makes kind of sense. Who knows? It's more data. Collecting data. That's the thing. I don't know if I'm really going to do anything with it right now. But you only have one time to collect the data. You know what I mean? It's not that hard to collect the data, and then someday in the future I can always just do something with it. That's why it's like, I'd like to get you guys collecting your data now, in case in the future, if I ever make like a website or something like that, because I think it'd be really cool to make a website where you type things in and it makes a graph. But most likely what I'll do is I'll just probably ask for the data once I figure out like a good way to present my own data, and then we can like overlay it and stuff like that. I just think it'd be really nice. We'd also have to like maybe differentiate on other things, but who knows? I'm thinking one thing would be differentiating into groups via body weight. I think that might be good. Depending on how many people I can get in the data set. Yeah. If you're gonna be starting transition, or if you've already started transition, or if you're even like a year and a half into your transition, I would really like it if you start keeping track of your own data, because A, it's really fun to look at, and B, it could possibly be enlightening. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm kind of not liking. I'm kind of not liking the idea of making a website. And there's just too many things to go wrong with that. It's easier. It would just be easier for me to like someday in the future be like, oh, I'm ready to get all this data and crunch the numbers, and you guys just send me, okay, my SD card reminded me that I should probably not go too long on that tangent. But yeah, it's a fine line between enough information to make it useful, but not too much information to where I'd fear like, oh shit, now I just have like a bunch of information about people and I gotta like kind of guard it from getting stolen or something like that. So I think it would just be like really low information, just mostly the data, kind of anonymous stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe the option to have an anonymity towards it, that'd be good. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. I think it's an amazing idea, but I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions, and if you can, start taking measurements, because sometime in the future it might be kind of cool to like, I don't know, compile it into like, I don't know, a scientific paper. That'd be cool. I don't know if it'd be like that kind of material, but if it could just be a scientific observation that would yield an interesting PDF and maybe a lot of interesting charts and stuff like that. And I'm even thinking about this. I kind of want to make the charts on my Apple II sort of have like a vintage 1980s style to it. I think that'd be kind of cool. I could even write a little program to display it in kind of like a 3D chart thing on the Apple II. It wouldn't like have much animation. It would just be like, it would be like isometric or whatever the term is, instead of just 2D. Everything would be like it would just be lines. That's all it would be. But drawing lines in a way it would give the illusion that it was 3D. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. See ya!